In this episode, I'm going to share with you how to become completely recession-proof. Also, the speaker's business model, how they earn money, how you can too, and why you're leaving about 300% of your potential earnings on the table because you won't open your mouth and talk to people. All that and more coming up on this show. You don't go anywhere else. This is Speak on Stage. Hi, I'm Dave Crane, an ex-BBC journalist who transforms decision makers and business owners who are feeling unknown and scared to speak on stage into highly respected and branded industry experts who are frequently getting offered 5, 6, and even 7-figure contracts to do exactly what they did before. During the pandemic, I lost everything except the belief that, like me, the world is full of frustrated leaders and game changers with untapped potential and brilliant ideas who felt time was always against them because they were worth much, much more and just needed help to learn to jump and grow wings on the way down. And so that's what I do. I help create industry icons. Imagine being in constant demand, headhunted and interviewed because you're the visionary whose life purpose and passion are aligned. So every single day you wake up smiling, truly happy, only doing what you want, when you want, and having plenty of time to spend with those you love. I created the Industry Icon program to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you to fly. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur or one in the making who's looking to create a business that makes an impact and a life worth living, it's an honor to be serving you. And now it's your turn to build a legacy. So let's get started. We need to talk. This is your time to become an industry icon. Welcome back to the show. Did you miss me? It feels like forever since I've been in this studio talking to you, but I've been busy. If you missed it, I did a couple of really cool episodes. One about how to get overseas gigs from an overseas gig, and also how to present at conferences. And it was really behind the scenes session at GITEX. Spent 5 days there, and I shared with you my own personal journey, experiences and adventures. If you haven't checked them out, then make sure you listen to the other podcasts and subscribe as well. Today's episode is completely explosive. It's going to blow your mind. Even if you're a speaker, it's going to blow your mind. If you're not a speaker, then you'll kick yourself for wondering why you didn't get around to doing it earlier. And I know what you're thinking. Dave, I don't want to be a speaker. I just like watching you talk rubbish. After this, you'll change your mind. So today's episode is all about the speaker business model. It's episode 11. Can't believe we've come so far in such a short amount of time. And with this, I'm going to reveal to you a ton of things. This includes the agenda of what you can earn as a speaker, potential numbers. Secondly, how you can earn them as a speaker. Thirdly, how you earn even more as a speaker. Fourth, how you can get started as a speaker. And lastly, as always, answering your questions and answers. We always get tons of people saying, Dave, can you help me with this? And so whenever possible, I refer to those and just put you out of your misery and give you the fastest route to get the results that you want. As always, let me know where you're from. Leave your messages in the comments section. I'm trying to get around to answer everybody as we go. And also let me know your thoughts. If you want to learn from me directly, contact me directly. It's dead simple. Okay, to do that or to get it started, then this is a special gift for you. It's a free ebook about the 10 killer strategies you need to learn to fast track your career. It covers a lot of stuff that's on the show, but it does it in a very small and easy form. So what you do with this is, if you're watching on your phone, click on the QR code with your finger and it should open up the website. Just register and you can get this book within 30 seconds. It covers 10 different things. If not, get a screenshot and you do the same thing with a screenshot on your phone. 10 things you need to know about being effective in the workplace includes how to get over fear of public speaking, how to grow your brand, how to grow a brand and post when your company says you can't do it without our permission. Yeah, there's a way of getting around that as well. How to do really effective stuff on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, how to get over imposter syndromes. There's 10 different strategies, and I would urge you, if you haven't got a copy of this book, it also will get you contact details about the game changers as well. It's completely free and it will change your life. If you've ever struggled with how do I do this and you can't ask anybody, don't worry, you can ask me, and this is here just for you. Whew. I'm getting all excited now because here I am sharing stuff with you, and I know how important it is. I also know what a big difference this is going to make to you. All the stuff I'm sharing in today's episode will blow you away because it's really very effective and very powerful. Let's start with this. So when we're talking about it, we've got the Industry Icon Program, which is when I mentor. Part of the business model will be shown in today's episode. When I mentor individuals to really get through the stratosphere, make 7-figure numbers, just change their business model so they're happier and they're recognized and they're doing much better than ever before. Now, most people think that if you're a manager or a supervisor or you've got some kind of credibility level in an organization and you're good at speaking, then that means you're going to be a CEO and then you're going to make more dollars. Now, that is true. But that's not the only business model. I can promise you that the mistake that most people think is that, I don't need to speak. I'll just stay in the background and just, I'll be okay. Well, you may or may not be okay, but you're missing out on so much. I said it's true, but there's more to it. It's yes plus 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 or more pluses. Because when you can speak and you're able to communicate people effectively, and you've got a business model in tow, and it doesn't need to be your business, it can be an employee, you can be working for somebody else, then the way that you do it goes through the roof. Let me share with you, I believe that through somebody's career, they leave about 300% of their potential earnings on the table. And when I say 300%, that includes doing a job you hate and you'd rather be working somewhere else, fast-tracking your career, and enjoying just the experiences of connection with people that you would never get otherwise. Like, for instance, I've lived in Dubai for the best part of, 30 years? And I would say that for me personally, living in Dubai and the experience that I've had of waking up and the sun is shining, going to bed it's dark and it's always bright, I would say that for many people, myself included, that's worth about 60-70% of my earnings. To be able to wake up every day and have that. I mean, I'm proud of being a Brit. I love the UK, but the amount of times I woke up and it was dark and grey, and I thought my alarms got it wrong, and then we had a little hour of sunshine during the day and then it went dark again. It makes a huge difference. So when we're talking about it, let's talk about it in terms of figures and what you would invest to make that happen. Luckily with this, you don't have to invest a lot. In fact, I think that by the end of today's episode, you will be able to walk away with $1,000 in your pocket just by watching this. Honestly, I'm serious. Okay, here's what you've been missing throughout your entire career. And schools don't know about this. I've had so much experience. My daughter, who's 12, Maya, I share with her, not this business model I'm sharing with you because she's too young to care about it, but the difference between what schools teach you and the educational system teaches you is it's all about existing systems. They don't tell you about this stuff because they don't know about this stuff. I do. That's why I'm sharing with you on this podcast. And all I need is your loyalty of watching it to the end of the show. How's that do as a deal? And if you like it, watch more. So there you go. It's as good as it gets. We've got a YouTube channel as well. I'll tell you about that later. But meanwhile, we're broadcasting live. Give it out to YouTube, Facebook, and also LinkedIn and some other platforms I can't remember. But there you go. So schools don't know about this because they don't learn. Teachers speak all the time, but the challenge is that they speak to their kids and they just speak to a small group of people, take a salary and go home. They're missing out on a ton as well. So if you're a teacher or an educator, this is for you as well. So how do you earn from speaking? Well, I'm going to share this now. Now, based on average numbers, the reason I say it's based on average numbers is lots of people earn a lot more than the figures I'm going to share with you because they scale it, but they do narrow in on one or two particular points and they amplify the reach and the impact that it has. I'm going to show you some average numbers. If you just choose one and you work on it, then that's really the way it should be. So you get an overview about where your skill sets lie, your contacts lie, and what you can do. So based on the average numbers, here's the speaker business model. So first of all, the first thing we're going to look at is live events. You see that there. which includes hosting, keynoting, panels, and being an expert or a thought leader, a subject matter expert. Then you've got coaching and mentoring. You've got memberships. You've got your brand and the center, which drives all this. I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. You've got products and services that are available as well, online and offline, remember. You've got affiliate sales and you've got joint ventures. Now, when we're talking about this, it interlocks and it does make a big difference. A lot of the stuff that you do does impact on other sides. And if you've got one particular area of this shape that you think, oh, that's definitely me, well, with that, remember that there will be other things that spin off as a direct result. So the activities that you do, and this is what I help people do with the Industry Icon program, creating tribes, creating a podcast on your show, getting sponsorships, driving meetups and having residencies, even appearing at other people's residencies, teaching people to pitch and sell or being able to sell yourself, book sales, creating webinars, seminars and retreats that people can visit you on, online training courses, huge opportunity because it can scale really well, mastermind groups, creating great content that people want, and also licensing your products and systems for other people to enjoy and work with. These are just a couple of ideas, and I know you're thinking, okay, that sounds like a lot of work, Dave. I don't really think I'm ready for this. I'll wait a little bit. Well, there's a recession looming, so they tell us. What do you do about that? Well, let me share with you what you can earn from speaking. This is very conservative, as I said, they're average numbers, but let's look at it and base it on just a little bit extra in your pay packet. Live events, keynotes, depends where you live in the world, depends what your target market is, depends how well you refine your speaking career, but easily about $50,000 a year from being a speaker. Coaching and mentoring with some great clients, again $50,000. Memberships, big or small, maybe $25,000. Products and services, this is in addition to what you already do, that's $45,000. Affiliate sales, selling other people's products, 5, and joint ventures, maybe doing other business with other people over a year and scaling it and growing it, 20,000. So when you put all that together and you get the activities, you could be taking home a whopping $195,000 every single year because you've grown a business around this. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be those figures. It will be very different because you will prioritize certain things, and you also look at your landscape and your market and your industry, and you'll say, you know what, Dave, what they're missing is this. Oh, I already have this, but I reckon I could do it better and own it. The way I like to look at it is very simple. I really believe there's enough for everybody. There's 8 billion people on the planet. How many people do you want? If you've got 1,000 people paying your subscriptions, that works. Supposing you're doing 50, well, I'll talk about memberships a little bit later on. Trust me, you want to pay attention. I hope you're enjoying this, by the way. Send me your comments, your thoughts, and as we go along, I'll answer your questions too. Okay, so follow and subscribe as always on social platforms. My name is Dave Crane. Somewhere, I think it's Twitter, I'm a life designer, but generally Dave Crane or Dave Crane Dubai is where you'll find me on LinkedIn. Here's a warning for you. Very big warning. If you're going, oh goodness now, right, I'm going to go in, going to tell the boss to stuff it because I know I've got all this money coming in. It's not what I'm saying. Here's my caveat. Do not become a full-time speaker. Why? Well, because it's difficult. Before you've got all these pieces in place, you've got to then go out and earn as a speaker and hopefully get people to hire you. And sometimes you don't earn from speaking, but you do it strategically to get people to put you in front of audiences so you can sell the back end of products. There's a lot in place there. If you have a job, stay with your job. Trust me. Add speaking as a side hustle to your position. Don't just jack everything in and say, right, I'm going to be rich as a speaker. It's difficult. It's not easy, and speaking's the easy bit. It's the infrastructure around you, the support, the direction, the roadmap that are the challenges, and time. So therefore, here's what I suggest, and it's for any job, doesn't matter what you do for a living, any job plus speaking is all you need. You could be a plumber, you could be a nurse, you could be a doctor, you could be a contractor of some description, an architect, a lawyer. Just add speaking and the whole business world opens up and goes, wow. Why? Because only about 1% of people put themselves out there as speakers, but that's going to include you by the end of this show. So how do you earn more from speaking? Well, let's have a look. I did promise to you that we'd talk about the additional income streams from being a speaker. They include this: live events, coaching and mentoring, memberships, products and services, joint ventures, and of course affiliate sales, which is selling somebody else's products. I'm going to break that down in this episode, and I hope that you're enjoying the content so far. The shows are normally about 30 minutes long, and the films might take slightly longer, but I guarantee it's going to be worth your while. Or maybe I'll chop it halfway through and leave you hanging. Okay, let's see. As we get straight into it, number one is going to be live events. Now, live events is very challenging. Most people say, I don't want to speak live, people stare at me, things could go wrong. This whole show is dedicated to you, this whole series and podcast, to getting you over that hump, imposter syndrome, how to handle an audience, how to own a room, all that stuff I've mentioned in many episodes. If not, watch the back catalogue of stuff, and there's more coming up in the future. But live events has so many elements that most people don't consider. So first of all, here's me hosting the World Metaverse Conference in Dubai. Naming lights, big audience, but it's not just hosting. There's lots of different ways at live events you can make money. So for instance, you can speak and deliver a keynote. That's obvious. That's what most people think speaking actually is. But it also includes hosting and facilitating. You can be paid probably the same amount to bring on other people, read out who they are, or facilitate the event. Make sure all the things are in place and make sure it all comes together. It doesn't have to be your event. Number three, you can be the organizer. So your skills in speaking are about arranging things to come together, letting people know where they're going to be, what they have to do, but your skills are really about organizing. You might even think it is cost effective to not actually host it or speak at your own events, just do a very quick hi, how are you, but be behind the scenes, putting people in place and educating them on what they've got to do to make your audience satisfied. Number four, panels. Hosting panels. The easiest way to speak at a conference, the lowest hanging fruit of any event, is to be on a panel amongst other people. Sometimes hosting it, so therefore you get a lion's share of the attention because you're running it the way you want it to be. Think of a talk show host on TV, or as a guest. So you sit there, and if you've got three people on the panel, you get a third, maybe a fourth of the actual time, because everyone else is wanting to say their thing, so you just jump in when you can. But it's an easy way to get in. And can you be paid to do that? Yes, you can. Certainly, you can get your flights, your accommodation, and your food paid at the very least. Sometimes if in a really high-end speaking event, you can just be a guest, but you can deliver a training session, or you can be there for some other stuff as well. Number five is broadcasting. That means exactly what it says on the tin. You could be doing live radio, live TV, whatever it is, or you could be doing it online, or you could be doing it at an event. You could be podcasting, interviewing people, lots of different stuff like that. Then you've got being an entertainer. Don't get me started. I'm a stage hypnotist, former DJ. I don't DJ very often now, and hosted tons of events. That's pretty much my area of entertainment. I'm sure there's more that's going to come to mind, but I have in my time been a kids entertainer, working with older people, couples, all sorts in my time as an entertainer. All speaking, by the way, and event and expert, an advisor, a subject matter expert. People will pay you to come in and share, do a Q&A on how you do stuff. Richard Branson, one of the most beloved businessmen on the planet, doesn't like doing public speaking, so he doesn't. What he does is he sits on a stool with a microphone and answers questions. Gary Vaynerchuk is a brilliant, brilliant speaker, but he does Q&As. Sits on stage, people ask Gary, and that's his business model, and he gets paid a fortune to be able to just stand there and share his expertise. It's really effective. So how does that pan in? Let me share with you what speaking could look like. This is me hosting an event on stage at Beats on the Beach in Abu Dhabi, which is associated with the Grand Prix. Get some huge artists and an audience, in this case about 40,000 people on the beach. And this is what it looks like from my point of view.
Crane, I'm the MC for tonight. This is a phenomenal gig, absolutely brilliant. Suddenly, looking at the lineup of all the stars coming to the UAE, it's just like a complete chart of everything that's happening around the world musically. And that's why you got all the big stars coming here, and it's really put Abu Dhabi on the map.
Hey, I'm Kelly Rowland in Abu Dhabi.
Yo, you know how we do this. It's Sean Paul, the girls, I'm overall locking it down in Abu Dhabi.
Yo, one more time, it's Kelly Rowland!
So there you go. That's just one part of it. That's for live speaking events. And if you just join me, by the way, love your thoughts, your comments. Let me know around about where the world you are. Make sure you follow all the stuff I'm doing, and also subscribe to the podcast and also the YouTube channel. I'm broadcasting now, and I realize that as I'm speaking, showing you videos, if you listen to the podcast, you're frustrated because you're saying, well, what's happening there? I was on stage in front of 40,000 people with some huge stars entertaining, and for copyright reasons, I can't play their music, but you get the general idea. Watch it on video if you can, but the podcast hopefully gives you enough content to enrich your life and give you some action points wherever you are around the world. Okay, number 2 is coaching and mentoring. I do a lot of that. Live events, coaching and mentoring. In fact, I showed you everything I'm involved in. Coaching and mentoring, I think, is one of the lowest hanging fruits. If you know what you're talking about, then you can help other people with what you are talking about. So a coach and a mentor, for instance, would be sharing lots of ideas with an audience in front of them. So how does that work out? There's me at that time running an event when I was teaching people to do speaker training, and I did that before the pandemic. I'd have an average maybe 6 to 10 people in a room every 3 weeks, and I'd teach everybody how to be able to deliver keynotes, how to create PowerPoint presentations, how to handle any size audience and be really effective. But you don't have to look at that as the only way you do it with coaching and mentoring. Remember, this is about communication, not just speaking on stage. So therefore, you could be a life and business coach. Your ability to talk to others, even on a one-to-one, is really effective and can make a really nice living for you. You can scale everything by talking to more than one person. That's where the speaker skills and the stagecraft can elevate and amplify your reach. Next up, a mentor or a niche expert. That's what I do with my Industry Icon program. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a few moments' time. But when you know your industry and you know how well you've done it and you've been around for a long time and you know the ins and outs, you can fast track. You're saving people time as a mentor. A coach is really about asking them questions so they can work it out on their own. But a mentor is really about creating a niche and working on that niche and helping other people want to do well within that community or that industry. Next up is a therapist or a wellness expert. More now than ever, people are needed to mentor and coach and help people to feel better, to feel happy, to get over depression, anxiety, to boost their career because they're carrying a lot of weight on their shoulders. And also, if you're remote, if you're not working in an office and there's no water cooler conversations, you may well find yourself distanced from everybody and thinking, I want to be more involved in what's going on. This helps. It really does. Okay. Trainer, standard way of doing business is to be there in front of a room of people and you take them from A to B. It's like a brain dump of all the stuff that you know into a group of people, but it can be very effective and it can pay really well on any subject, by the way. Team building, I do a lot of team building. I'll be talking about that in a few moments' time. But basically, doing something out of the box, doing something that's unusual, doing something that's not work to get the very best out of a group of people and make them come together even closer. And in these days of remote teams, when you do team building, whether it's online or offline, or you get people together in a hotel or you take them on a trip, can be really effective and it can really affect your bottom line too. Number 6, course creator. Well, not only are you coaching and mentoring, but why don't you put it into something like a course so you can scale your input better, share it with other people. They can go through it, they can learn from it, and you don't have to necessarily be there during that entire period of time. There's a couple of ways of doing it that are really effective. You can be there with them, you can work with them, or you can go one-to-one, or they can do it on their own. Most people used to do it on their own, but they really want to be there as part of some community. So you can actually do it in the membership, which I'm going to mention a bit later on. Okay, and last of all, virtual coach. Now, virtual coach could be anything whatsoever. It just means that you're doing stuff online. And that is easy now, like I'm doing. Here's me broadcasting from my home studio, and I'm reaching thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, millions of billions. No, I'm just reaching a lot of people from around the world. And I don't have to scale it, and I don't have to be there, because if you do it effectively like this, people can see and they enjoy it. So what does that all mean when it comes together? Well, let me share with you what the Industry Icon does. I'm training and mentoring people all around the world to be the very best of their industry. I teach them how to speak, I teach them how to go brand, I teach them how to make multiple income streams at the same time. Now, if you want to know what that is, here we go. This is the Industry Icon program.
I have been participating in Dave Crane's Industry Icon program.
Dave Crane is one of the best coaches in the industry. one of the most knowledgeable speakers I know.
I was so impressed.
He shared the stage with celebrities, athletes, politicians, and royalty.
You've been an inspiration to me since the first time I saw you on LinkedIn, man.
New prospects should know that you are a world-class broadcaster.
He's a true professional. He operates from his heart, and he always speaks his truth.
Where do I begin?
I looked around the room, and all I could see was eyes on you, ears on you. You could have heard a pencil drop.
Dave is someone who is a limitless thinker with a big heart.
And his industry icon program helps coach great leaders into becoming great speakers.
So if you're interested in joining the Industry Icon program, then go to theindustryicon.com, and you've got all the details there to connect with me. We can set up a chat, and we'll just have a work through a roadmap and basics of how you can grow yourself to a really huge level. Meanwhile, if you just joined my show, I can see already that we got to 25 minutes of the show. I can see that it's going to go on to many, many hours. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to run to probably about 30-40 minutes of this, and we'll take a break, and we'll probably split it into two parts because I want to make sure that I give you as much content as I possibly can in the time that we have together. I don't want to overstay my welcome. I know that this is gold. This is audio and visual gold I'm sharing with you, which literally turns into gold. This is a speaker's business model. Have a look at that again. Wow. You see all the scale and stuff that's on this? I hope you're getting as much from this as I have, sharing it with you. Okay, so let's do memberships, and then we'll see how we do time-wise. Memberships is about creating a community of people that pay your subscription to be associated with you over a period of time. So it's a little subscription, so it doesn't break the bank, but you scale it to have a lot of people working with you. Does that make sense? And it's automated, so they set it up to come from their bank account, so it gets transferred, or from the credit card, or a standing order, so it's easy for them, and it's easy for you. Let me give some examples. So here's what we have with our own Game Changers membership. We've got a community of people from all around the world who are like the industry icon people, but we've got a group of them who all help each other. And we train them. Here you can see, and you can't see it very well because of this and because you're not part of a group, but we're going for a number of different things from mindset, industry, imposter syndrome, how to speak, how to go on panels, how to do keynotes, presentations, how to do well on social media. These are the training courses that we have built into the membership. Every month we deliver videos for people to learn and to work their way through, really effective. And we come together with a Q&A at the end of the month, so anyone can ask me any question they want, and also they get to interact with each other, and it's a really good fun community. If you're interested in that, all you have to do is actually go back to that QR code and just register there, or go to speakonstage.com. So let's look at other types of memberships that you can have. So memberships includes anything. So you can have a membership that's based on your community or your niche of your industry. Anything from collecting plant pots to living in a certain part of the town, to being of a certain age, to have whatever it is that is in your niche or community. I mean, how many different industries and jobs are there? Thousands of them. You can have a group of people who are just the same as that, or you can have them because they're all men or all women or all the certain. That's a community in a niche. You can have memberships as long as you're making sure it's worthwhile for them. Next up, special interests. Certain things that you think, wow, I really need to have more of that. It could be that you've got football on the brain, you love football. It could be that you want to learn to be able to cook properly, or maybe you're into gardening, or maybe you're into doing makeup. Special interests. As a community, fast-tracking and bringing people together with like-minded attitudes means that you have a number of people really interested in being part of your community. Remember, this is all about a membership. Paid membership is best because then people, if they're paying, will pay attention to it. Business and education. So you're teaching people a new skill, or you're being part of a business group. So there's tons of business groups, from Chambers of Commerce to BNI, Business Networking International. All these are paid business groups, and you're a member of them, and you renew it annually. And the idea is, while you're there, you do business with other people, but you can also have these groups to educate you and grow you at the same time. Again, another example of a membership. Then you've got pressure groups. support groups, you've got politics, all these people who want things to change. Will they pay to be part of it? Yes, because they want to be in the cutting edge and they want to have an influence and want to make sure things happen. Number 5, again, support and wellness groups, but these are really to help individuals. So it could be that you've got a helpline, or you've got a community that helps people who've been badly damaged through their childhood, or gone through a difficult divorce, or maybe lost a member of their family, or they're recovering from COVID. All those things, support and wellness, huge opportunities for you to create membership. Again, we're talking about speaking. All you have to do is do what I'm doing here and drive the conversations. In fact, many times when you've got a specific group, the members of the group will drive it for themselves. Number 6, special interest, something that you really like, but this one's a personal interest. This would include dating sites, or, I don't know, something that is very, very subtle and only for you that you wouldn't want me to mention. If I say personal interest, something's going through your head, yeah, that thing. People will pay to be part of that membership, and then quite clearly you probably would as well. And number 7 here is mastermind groups. What are mastermind groups? Mastermind groups are the cutting edge of the membership. So you've got a membership with maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, 1,000, a million people in this membership. But a mastermind is a small group, ideally about 8 people. A little bit more, a little bit less. But those people are paying a premium because they're all big hitters. They meet on a regular basis, and the idea is, as they get together, they share with each other what you really need to know to be super effective, and they help each other to grow independently of each other, because they're not taking money out of each other's mouths, but they do have an opportunity to do joint ventures, to share content, to connect with their clients and their connections too. So masterminds can be really effective and really powerful. So I'm going to share with you now about our own mastermind, and this is the Game Changers. We've got the Game Changers community, and we've been working with people from all around the world for about 7 months now. You're very welcome to join us. Have a look, go to speakonstage.com, or again, go to the QR code which I share with you at the end of this presentation, and you'll see exactly what it is and what it is that we do. This is the Game Changers. If you're a decision maker looking for a community of high achievers who will lift you to greater success, join the Game Changers. Every business owner knows learning curves are tough. Growing on your own runs a risk of running out of time, energy, or money. And without the experience, help, or advice of experts you can trust, everything can take twice as long, cost twice as much, and crash long before you're able to turn a profit. My name's Dave Crane. Google me. I've worked on some of the world's biggest stages, hosted events for the world's most famous brands, and trained CEOs, politicians, and celebrities to be able to speak on stage. And the one thing I noticed amongst all these different events is there's no sense of community. And that's why we created the Game Changers. Imagine a global community of connected, successful decision makers, high achievers, and thought leaders who are committed to caring about helping you. Our community motivates, inspires, educates, and takes you and your business up to a whole new level every single day. We help you grow your brand, speak on international stages, and be seen as an expert by the rest of your industry. Imagine that feeling of happiness and achievements you enjoy every day because you know that the Game Changers has become your own personal brain trust and board of directors. You become an industry icon. Here's what you do next. Go to www.speakonstage.com and join the Game Changers. Together, let's build your legacy. Welcome to the Game Changers. So that's looking at membership sites, which are really effective. There's a lot of work involved with each of these products, by the way. When I share this business model with you, they're not overnight. Some of them can work out very effective, and some of them you might be sitting and going, I could do that tomorrow. Generally, it's a lot of extra work to make them come in, but the idea is that they earn you a lot of money, but also that they're scalable. So in many cases, it's set it and forget it. I don't believe in just blank residual income. You make a load of money by putting it out there and leaving it. From my experience, you have to keep working on it, but you can scale it. So if you're used to be online, used to being online, and used to connecting with people overseas, you can have a small team that will look like a big company. You can do it on your own, but it's better to do it with a partner or with a small team working under you. But you can certainly work as well as any big organization in your industry. Now, I realize that in the time of being together, it's actually 35 minutes into this podcast. And I like to sort of cap it at this kind of level, because otherwise I'd just carry on talking forever. So we're going to treat it as part 1 and part 2. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. I will answer any questions. Ask me directly on the social media platform where you are. Just send it into the comments page or section, and I'll get straight back to you. The whole thing about speaking is there are a number of different elements to it. I've got the Speak on Stage Mastery System, which teaches you a ton of things you need to know. Everything from how to welcome an audience, how to overcome stage fright, how to warm up before speaking, how to train audiences to behave for you, and how to open and close a room, how to get your body language correct with anybody when you're speaking to them directly on a big stage or just face-to-face or in an elevator, how to do small talk, especially back in that elevator when you want to make connections with people but you don't want it to be creepy silence, how to host all kinds of events, how to do panels and interviews, how to fix any problems, and how to make an online impression, create online TV shows along the same lines as what I'm doing here, and then an assessment that comes with it as well for you. That's all part of the Speak on Stage Mastery System, and again, go to speakonstage.com and you can find out how you can get access to that. I should really I'm going to throw in a question. Again, follow and subscribe, you get all the details. The Q&A section, I don't normally do much with it, but today I'm going to do one before we finish, because otherwise it's unfair, because I did promise you a complete show, and so that's what this will be. So the first question is this, and it comes in from John Stevenson from Isle of Wight. It says, how should I handle hecklers? Right, hecklers might actually be a British term. I don't know if it's called hecklers in America or anywhere else. Heckling is when somebody's shouting over you and embarrassing you at an event. So somebody goes, oi, oi, and says something, and it's really sort of annoying when they do it. That's what heckling is. And traditionally, that comes when you're doing a stand-up comedy event. So stand-up comedians are trained from a very early age, otherwise they don't last very long, to be able to turn around to an audience and respond back. So things you might say, and I've used in the past with difficult audiences, is sit back in your chair and I'll plug it in. Or if somebody's talking too much, you say, God ruined a good bottom and he put teeth in that. I'm sorry if I offended, but there we go. And it works really well. Generally it works. You've got to choose your audience and so on. And there's lots of ways of working an audience, but it doesn't always work. You've got to be very prepared. So I'm going to share with you, John, a couple of things I would recommend. First of all, if you've got disruptors or challenges, I won't go through how to handle difficult questions, because I'll save that for when I work with people. Certainly in the Game Changers, I did a big session about how to handle the worst question. That if you don't know the answer and you've got an audience waiting, you've been asked a horrible question, but somebody is there to trip you up, then I'll show you exactly how to answer that. I won't do that in today's session. I will say, first of all, when you go on stage, own the room immediately. First thing that you must do is make sure it's your room. And what does that mean? I'm in a hotel. I don't own the hotel chain. No, but the time that you're with an audience, an hour, half an hour, 5 minutes, doesn't matter. That audience should be sitting and looking at you, paying attention and listening to your every word. If they're not doing that, you're not doing your job properly, and therefore you're going to have a problem because you leave yourself wide open. If hecklers are basically trained, they'll behave. So train them to behave. Here's what happens, and it's true of every relationship. Whenever you've got a one-to-one relationship or one-to-many relationship with anybody, you train them or they will train you. Think about your relationships with your family, with your friends, with your partners, with your colleagues, with your clients. They'll either tell you how things get done or you tell them how things get done. I'm not saying being a bully. I'm not saying being horrible to people. I'm saying this is a fact. You set down the rules of engagement, sometimes in writing and sometimes you just got to do it naturally. So that's what I'd say. Train them to behave from the very beginning by making sure that they know that you are the real deal. And that way we'll take a step back to learn something. Have smart options. I've already told you about the joke. 2 jokes I shared with you. There's a ton of them. Google them. How to handle hecklers. Watch stand-up comedians. See how they do it. Sometimes a funny look will get it exactly where you want to. If you don't want to humiliate the audience, or you don't want to have a fight with anybody, study head teachers at schools. I don't know how you're going to get into a school to see, but do you remember a head teacher at your school? We had a lady, she was very stern. She'd be like Margaret Thatcher, and she had a look that would just wither anybody. The last thing you wanted to be noticed by her on any level, because that meant that you would be called up in front and it felt like it would be a Harry Potter experience being told off and be turned into a frog. So have lots of different options, including this. Have backup. I'm not saying have bouncers, but certainly in a nightclub as a DJ, I used to have bouncers, just in case somebody asking for a request did get that little bit too far. I would indicate there's usually a bouncer next to the DJ's booth who would look after them, interact with them, and move them away. You don't have to have that, but sometimes you need security at conferences with very good reasons, ushers, and so on. Sometimes it's the manager or the staff of the event, and sometimes it's the organizer. It could be anybody, but make sure you got backup. There's nothing worse than having an argument with a member of your audience in front of your audience. If you don't put them down quickly, and it sounds terrible to say put them down, not like put them to sleep, but you have to be able to talk them down very quickly. Otherwise, if it disrupts, you get into this game. And it becomes like when somebody trolls you on your social media and you start this fight with them where you're trying to make them behave and they won't behave, and we go on and it upsets you and you want to do more. And what everyone does is just sit back. But sometimes they leave. And the fact is, because you've got to get down and dirty to make sure this person behaves, you could lose a lot of friends who just turn around and say, I didn't realize that you were like that. You're saying, well, it wasn't my fault. Well, yeah, I don't care. Think about it. Think about a celebrity. Think about Will Smith. One of the most beloved actors of all time, one of the most successful actors of all time. What happened to his reputation when somebody insulted his wife, which he shouldn't have done in public, which he shouldn't have done? Fair play at the Oscars and as a comedian, I know, but he shouldn't really have done. And then he went on stage and hit the guy. He hit Chris Rock, and as a result of that, people went, whoa, can't do that. Well, don't like him anymore. They'll love him again because it's Will Smith. But the point is that whatever you do, make sure you've got backup to be able to deal with it. Okay, so next up is this. I would suggest deliver what you agreed. Even if you're having a terrible time and you know you're going to have to cut your time short because you've got a heckler that you couldn't get rid of, struggle through as best as you can because you don't want to have to give a refund after leaving the venue. I went on stage, somebody kept shouting at me, so I went off stage. Yeah, but there's a whole other audience waiting to be entertained. What about them? They're going to want their money back. Yeah, but you shouldn't. No. Think about it. Deliver what you agreed. If what you deliver isn't as good because it was hijacked by a heckler or disrupted, then you still delivered. You were still putting in the time, still doing the stuff. You can take a time out. You can turn around and say, ladies and gents, I want to take a short bathroom break, and then we'll come back and do this again. And that way you can take care of the person in front of you. Take him in the bathroom and give a slap. I didn't say that. But you can take care of it. And you sometimes need a break after you've had a challenge if you haven't got the experience of dealing with it. So I hope that makes sense, and that's a pretty good way of moving forward. If you have any questions, by the way, feel free to go to info@davecraneglobal.com and send me your questions there. I'll be more than happy to answer everything as best as I can. So also the Industry Icon program, you want to know more about that, then feel free to contact me directly. Go to theindustryycon.com or even go to this page here, get your QR code to get your free ebook of how to 10 killer strategies of how to guarantee and fast track your career, and it's absolutely free. Just sign up and you get details about the game changers, but you'll get details about the Industry Icon program as well. We're going to be going on to, in fact we're not going to be doing that bit. Episode 12 is going to be continuing part 2 of what it is we've been talking about so far. I've left you 3 different streams of income to look at. The next one, we're going to talk about products and services, affiliate sales, and joint ventures. All of them worth a ton of cash and a ton of opportunities for you as a speaker. So do not take it anywhere else. I promise you, this is exactly where you want to be. I'm looking forward to catching up with you soon. We're going to be talking soon as well. And this is Speak on Stage with me, Dave Crane. Look after yourself. Part 2 is coming next week, if not before. So subscribe, share this with your friend, leave comments, contact me directly, and have the most amazing day. And that's it for today's podcast. I hope you really enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure having you here with me. If you go to speakonstage.com, everything you need will be there. You get access to my blog, you get past and present podcasts, find out about the events that are upcoming, and also you could join the Game Changers and join our global community, our membership. We're changing the world. Similarly, if you really want to push your brand and get speaking gigs all around the world, then you've got to become an industry icon. Book a session with me, we'll have a chat about it, and you can get our online courses to become an amazing speaker and also position yourself as the very best in your niche. I look forward to catching you soon on another podcast. Meanwhile, have an amazing day.